Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest expansion-packed episode of the Switch It Up show. I am your host today, Seth Trav, joined as always by our friend Glenn.
How are you doing this evening, sir? Afternoon.
I am doing very well, my guy, because the time is finally here. I have waited years for this. I feel like it's literally been 6 years, but we are finally here for Disgaea 6, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get to the review, I have got to let you listen to these sweet, sweet beats. Anamanaguchi, ladies and gentlemen. They supply us with the amazing tones all the time on the Switch It Up show. So, ladies and gentlemen, getting into our first review, it is Disgaea 6, Defiance of Destiny. It is $59.99 when you purchase it digitally, and you can get it for 300 gold coins on the Nintendo eShop. I believe it is a Switch exclusive for a little while, and it is available June 29th, 2021. The synopsis reads, SRPGs are gonna get a serious punch in the throat. The first new Disgaea game in 6 years is here. I guessed right. Meet Zed, a zombie that has risen above them all, except one, a god of destruction. Can a mere netherworld zombie rise up and destroy a god? Find out in the newest installment of the Disgaea series, featuring such as super reincarnation, 3D visuals, a first for this series, and adjustable gameplay settings to make this the perfect game for both new and old Disgaea fans. It is from our good friends over at NIS America. It is rated T for teen. My God. And like I said, it's available June 29th, 2021. The reason I laugh, ladies and gentlemen, because the Disgaea series has always been known for some of its overt adult themes, I'll say. And they're on full display here by the time you get to the second world. Let me tell you, one of the main characters you get has one of the most comical setups I have ever seen. Literally rests her hands on her chest. It's very funny to me. Very, very funny. The storyline, ladies and gentlemen, involves you playing as a zombie named Zed. And over and over and over, every time you change worlds, in fact, you get a game over. Because the entire point of this game is to super reincarnate, which is going to add a new sort of interesting element to the standard sort of SRPG fare, where instead of just leveling up and trying to reach level 9,999 million, you will now be trying to just level up to level 1,000, and then you will want to reincarnate your character back to level 1, and then just boost all of the base stats from there. It's a very interesting concept, and it's one that I think really, really adds life to this series, because if you have been a longtime fan of the Disgaea series like I have been, you will know that this series is all about grinding, it's all about getting the levels up, and it's all about continuing to make those insane combos and super moves happen, which are on full effect here, because as they said, this is the first time that the game has fully 3D rendered characters. And I want to tell you, I think it is on par with or better than Pokemon. I'm just going to say it. I'm saying that right now. The new Pokemon, either that's a knock on that or it's a positive for Disgaea. I would tell you it's a positive for Disgaea. Most of the time you are going to be spending just grinding away on this game. And one of the amazing things that they've added, and a feature that I think really helps the series, is the autoplay feature, because you'll spend a lot of time going through the item world, which of course is back, and you will want to continue to boost your items that way. And instead of having to grind away and just sit there and watch it and physically make the moves out, you can now set the game to autoplay for you. And another added bonus that they give you is the ability to change up and actually customize the way your character's auto actions are going to respond. It's a pretty in-depth system, and it does take a little bit of time to get used to. I definitely had a hard time with it at first, and I had to keep sort of just copying and pasting previously made ones and then just sort of editing them from there. Because for some reason, I couldn't really make heads or tails of it. Another new element to the game is the juice bar, which is going to be essentially where you spend points like mana, I think it is, and your money, and you can upgrade specific points again the same way you would when you super reincarnate, except for you don't have to actually set your character back to level 1 if you want to get them all the way to level 1000, which you will because now they've also added a feature called demerits where you can upgrade your character's ability to gain XP and other various attributes that they'll have in battles. You'll also be able to do the abilities again. You can keep upgrading those, boosting all of those things. You can also still call the assemblies, have all the fun with that. It's a very, very deep and robust game. You're definitely going to get over 40 hours of gameplay here. Storyline wise, I think this may be one of the weaker of the series. I don't know why I necessarily feel like that. I think it's because I don't resonate with the characters as much as I did before. Like in 5, I was in World 2 because I had a guy who resembled The Rock, and I love The Rock. For the entire story, it was very apropos for the times that we are living in sort of now, or like back in 2019 when it was re-released. So it felt very timely, and I resonated with that storyline a lot. This one, it took a good few hours before I really started to connect to the characters. It's humorous, but I wasn't vibing with them as much as I thought I was going to. However, after you get to about halfway point of the story, I want to say it's the halfway point because again, there are multiple endings to this game, but in this one I feel like it's even harder to tell when you actually get an alternate ending because it says game over a lot and that can be a bit confusing as well. Overall, though, it is very, very good. It's classic Disgaea stuff, and I really do enjoy the moves. I do think it's a drawback from 5. It's going to be a little controversial, but 5, I loved the fact that you could do those mix up power up things and fuse characters. That's not here anymore. They took that away. If anything, it feels like a real improvement from 4 and sort of a drawback from 5. So if you're like me, you may not enjoy it as much as you did 5, but if you're sort of the bulk of the audience, which I feel like it is, the bulk of the fandom, you're probably going to think that this is a great step up. They've also added a lot of seasonal things. You can buy a season pass for $36, I believe. They do have a lot of free DLC. I know that I got all of the characters from Disgaea 2, which I do believe they are going to be re-releasing soon, and it is the only one they haven't, I think. 2 and 3, maybe. I'd have to check back. We've played most of them, ladies and gentlemen. I love them. We played the Prinnies. We played a lot. And I want to thank them again for giving us this one. But, ladies and gentlemen, because of everything I have said here, I am going to give Disgaea 6, Defiance of Destiny, a 4 out of 5.
I'm super glad that you got a chance to play this, dude, because I believe Disgaea 5 was, if not the first, one of the first games that we reviewed here on the show, if I'm not mistaken.
It was, I believe, the second or first game that I ever reviewed, and I absolutely was blown away by it. I was like, these are the kinds of games we can get, and that really set the bar for how I review a lot of games. Not that I hadn't played SRPGs before, but being able to play a game as robust and in-depth as that, it's definitely worth the price tag. I will tell you that much, and I am pretty much ready to buy a lot of the DLC because you can see already that you're going to be able to get characters from 4, 5, and 1 again. So I kind of really want that. And of course, the free ones already. They have a Holy Live thing. I think that's what it is. I don't know, Holy. I think that's what it's called. Holo Live, something.
Yes. Hololive? Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
That's it,
They have a team up with that. So I'm excited to see if they do anything else. I would love it if they teamed up with Fire Pro Wrestling.
Oh, my God.
You know, get some of the NJPW in there.
Of course you would.
The dojo.
Of course.
It'd be awesome.
You never know, my man. You never know.
You never know.
That's awesome, dude. I'm glad you got a chance to check it out, and our partners over at NIS America are awesome. Always look forward to playing like all of their titles because they always have like very, very high quality stuff.
Absolutely.
So up for me, speaking of, I know you mentioned that Disgaea 6 has a whole bunch of gameplay to it. It's meaty, as I believe you described. And if not, I felt it. I felt it in your
Beefy.
passion.
It's a robust, I believe.
Well, you can definitely get your money's worth with Green Hell. And I played this game over on the PS5, although it's available on the Nintendo Switch. But we got a code for it for the PS5, where it is $24.99 on the PlayStation Store. However, in a weird shift, it's actually on sale for less money on the eShop, where it's currently $16.74. Things are almost always more expensive on the eShop. I feel like it's very rare that things are cheaper on the Switch, but this is a Switch show for the most part, and because I want to make sure that you guys get the best deal, if you're looking at both systems, definitely by all means pick it up over possibly on the Switch for $16.74. But my experience with this game was played with the PS5. So let me give you a little bit of the synopsis. I want you to kind of sit back and relax because this is a little bit of a lengthy one. Green Hell is an open-world survival simulator set in the uncharted, unique setting of the Amazonian rainforest. You are left alone in the jungle without any food or equipment, trying to survive and find your way out. Clinging to life, the player is set on a journey of durability as the effects of solitude wear heavy not only on the body, but also on the mind. How long can you survive against the dangers of the unknown? On this journey, you don't get any help from the outside world. Equipped with your bare hands, you'll have to learn actual survival techniques to build shelters, make tools, and craft weapons in order to hunt and defend yourself. Constantly threatened by the jungle around you, you'll have to fight both wild animals and tropical sicknesses. Players will also have to face the traps set by your own mind and fears that crawl in the darkness of the endless jungle. You are thrown into the emerald and impenetrable Amazonian rainforest, the Green Hell. Your goal is to survive the depths of a nightmarish environment using truly intuitive means to escape. Having only a radio at your disposal, you will follow the familiar voice of a loved one through this endless and inhospitable jungle, unveiling bit by bit how you got there in the first place. What you discover will be worse than what you fought so hard against to survive. The question, where can the human mind wander? It features a use of true survival techniques, including starting fires, building camps, animal traps, and construction. Sourcing and composing objects, allowing survival, including weapons and tools, food sourcing, including hunting and cropping, and wound, disease, and other injury treatments depending on the situation. This game was released on October 8th. It is an adventure/simulation from the awesome people over at Forever Entertainment. It's interesting that it was released so long ago, but we just got our hands on this a couple weeks ago. So glad to be able to check it out and talk about it here on the show. So basically what happens in Green Hell, as I kind of went through with the synopsis there, you are set in this Amazon jungle, this rainforest, if you will, and you are there to kind of investigate this native tribe that lives on the island. And you go there with your wife. You guys are kind of partners, and you're investigating, trying to learn more about this tribe and who they are as a people, where they come from, and all the backstory behind that, and trying to find out kind of what makes them tick, I suppose. And then you wake up one day, and your wife has vanished, and you can kind of get a hold of her on the radio, and you know that she's in trouble, but you're not exactly kind of sure where. And then you were just kind of set off into the wilderness of the jungle to find her and hopefully survive. And survival is definitely the key theme of this game. This is it's definitely an adventure/survival game, and you kind of have to be into the crafting thing with this game, because you are doing everything. When you go off to find your wife and find out what happened to her, you were kind of just left out into the wilderness by yourself. you don't have much of anything. You have to make everything. From, your shelter, if you choose to build it, it can be super simple, like a leaf over a tree, or it can be super in depth to the point where you're constructing all types of walls, a roof, you got ladder system going on. Like, you can really kind of take it to the next level if you're super into crafting. But for me personally, I was never really into the crafting aspect, but I like how it's woven into the story, because if you don't kind of start to embrace that crafting, that hunter-gatherer mindset, you will not make it. Making it from one night to another without getting bit by an animal was a huge accomplishment for me. But that's coming from somebody who doesn't usually play a game like this. But the fact that, I could immediately see my efforts paying off when I did start to delve into some of those crafting ideas, I did appreciate that, even as somebody who's not usually a really big fan of going through and making everything. And when I say everything, like everything, shelter, weapons, if you're building a fire, you have to go chop the wood. You have to pile it up in a certain manner. You have to find kindling. You have to stroke the sticks in just the right way to get them to kind of start to ignite. You have to blow air on it. There are multiple layers of everything. You have to even make your own medicine. You have to be on the lookout for certain plants as you're going through the jungle to try to find out and be like, all right, what does this flower look like? And you have this thing that you carry with you, this kind of journal that is really going to be almost like your Bible for this game. You're going to have to consult it all the time when it comes from either trying to figure out all right, how do I make the recipe for this salve that I need to spread on some of my wounds, or what type of housing do I want to be able to create? What pieces do I need? What animals should I look out for? Is this safe to drink? You're going to be using that and consulting that guide quite frequently during the game. And if you do happen to get injured, it's not really something you can brush off. We play a lot of games where health is kind of there, but it's never really something that you have to worry about too much, because there's always a you get to the end of the level and then your health restores. Even the smallest thing here in the Amazon rainforest can kill you. And I feel like they're kind of probably going for, a little bit of realism in that, because if you get bit by a snake in the actual Amazon rainforest, and who knows what type of poisonous snake it might be, you could die. I'm not a scientist, but I feel like that's possible, or at least somewhat likely.
Definitely possible.
But
I mean, we've seen Anaconda. We know what's up.
Oh, dude, it's a good but rough movie. But this game, it really requires you to kind of be on your toes at all times. Be super vigilant. They also give you a little bit of this. You get a gift, a watch, and it kind of shows where you are at in terms of your hydration, how hungry you are, your mental state. And if any one of those things starts to kind of fall down, if you go too long without drinking water, you go too long without eating, or you go too long without rest, your mental state kind of starts to deteriorate. And you kind of start to hear your inner monologue, of you talking to yourself, being I don't know if I can do this. This is getting rough. I haven't had any food. I haven't had any water. And as you go by and time goes by and those needs start to become more intense, your character's attitude and the way in which he talks to himself gets more aggressive and more frightening. So you really have to kind of make sure that you're balancing everything to keep your character not only healthy and alive, but also sane, which is really, really cool, because normally as the days go on by, I had personally had a hard time finding water. I struggled with that when I started to play this game, because even if you look at something and it's oh, there's freshwater pool over here, it looks like it's probably good. Unless it tells you that it's healthy, you're gonna get sick. And if you get sick, you have to try to find the plants, make the medicine, because if you don't, you're either going to go crazy or you're going to die, or both. And it seems like as the day goes on, your character starts to get a little wilder at nighttime because they're tired and they probably haven't slept, or they haven't eaten, or they haven't drank enough. And that combined with the darkness that's in the game is just super creepy. It also makes it realistic in that I don't really have a flashlight at that point when I first started playing, and when it's dark, you gotta find somewhere to go. There's all types of animals, snakes, like insects, like it's crazy. I feel like they do a really good job at hitting on their theme, and I love the idea of how they bring like insanity. They make you feel that it is a dangerous situation and you're in, and you have to do your best to resolve it. I like it. I feel like those aspects balanced with the crafting create a unique experience and make me want to play a game that normally I probably wouldn't want to play because it's so craft heavy. But I find myself liking this game more and more. It is rated M. It is, again, in the eShop right now for $16.74 or on the PlayStation Store for $24.99. I'm going to go ahead and give this game, we're going to give it a 4 out of 5. I kind of wanted to give it a little bit less because it's very, very crafting heavy, but I feel like the story and the challenge, like it didn't seem like impossible to me, and it makes me want to go back and keep playing it. So for that, we're going to go a little higher.
I like that. I think it's good. It's an intense game.
It is.
We had 2 very intense games today. 2 very grind-heavy games. Not to the Destiny level,
no,
but still grinding nonetheless. What do you think about them, ladies and gentlemen? Are you stoked for the latest Disgaea? Or do you want to get lost in the wilderness in Green Hell?
In an interesting little bit of a twist, there is gameplay of both of these games over on the YouTube, Mr. Settrap.
There is. Be sure to check us out on YouTube at www.youtube.com/Preach Network. That's where you will find so many hours, over 300 hours of gameplay, seeing us play many of the games we reviewed here on the Switch It Up Show. Be sure to rate, like, subscribe everywhere you can, because it's the only way we survive. And ladies and gentlemen, I have got to remind you that if any of this ever got boring, you could always switch it up.